Tonight we are back in Philadelphia for Game 3 of a 4-game series with the Phillies. The Pirates have won 8 of their last 9 at Citizens Bank Park, and they'll look for their 5th win in a row here tonight. The Bucks and the Phils coming up. And hi again, everybody. Along with Bob Walk, I'm Tim Neverett. Robbie Ince-Mikowski will be with us shortly. The Pirates put 7 runs on the Phillies last night. The offense starting to click again. Andrew McCutchen, his first home run in a month. And Josh Harrison hit his first ever 3-run homer.
Well, Tim, you know this is Philadelphia, a great place to hit home runs, and this ballpark likes to give them up. And it was good to see those long balls last night, especially from J-Hay. Everybody has been waiting for the real J-Hay to come back and start playing like everyone knows he can. Hopefully last night's going to be the beginning of that. And one of the other things, too, they did last night that I really liked was that steal of second base. I think when he's causing that havoc out on the bases, that's just as important to him hitting the ball over the fence.
J-Hay leading off again tonight. 8 of the 9 hitters for the Pirates will be right-handed. Francisco Liriano, the only left-hander in there against Cole Hamels. And what a pitching matchup we have for you tonight. These 2 veteran lefties going at it.
Well, it certainly is a very good one. These are 2 of the better left-handers in not only in the National League, really in baseball. Francisco, except for that last start, had just been on a great roll, just beating everybody with ease. Now, Cole Hamels, on the other hand, he's like auditioning for everybody with all the scouts in the stands every night. Since spring training, he's been thinking, where am I going to get traded? Where am I going to get traded? He's got to forget all that, just go out and pitch.
Cole Hamels coming off his best start of the season against the Mets. Hamels and Liriano, the pitching matchup here in Game 3. The Bucks having some fun in Philly, hoping to have a little bit more tonight, looking for their 5th straight win. Lineups and first pitch coming up.
By Toyota. Toyota helps you get the most out of your drive. Just ask a friend who drives one. Toyota, let's go places. By Barrel Automotive, we're driven to be better. And by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. Let's go Bucks.
Yes, they are not. No cheating in baseball. Citizens Bank Park, Philadelphia. Bob Walk and Robbie Inchmakowski. I'm Tim Everett. And we are glad you're with us tonight. A little breezy this evening, and the temperature much cooler than the last two nights. Take a look at the Pirates lineup, brought to you by Toyota. Josh Harrison trying to raise that average from 177. Hit his first home run since the 21st of April last night. Sean Rodriguez batting second. Andrew McCutchen and Starling Marte in the cleanup spot. Corey Hart plays right field tonight. Cervelli moves up in the order. Walker down, batting as a right-hander. And Jordy Mercer hits eighth. Francisco Liriano batting ninth against the veteran left-hander Cole Hamels.
Cole is having a decent year, but he's kind of had some good starts, bad starts. But one of the things that he's had to deal with now for quite a while, not just this season, but seasons past, is low run support. They don't score him many runs. He is among the fifth lowest in run support in Major League Baseball, going back to the beginning of 2014.
Honda defense, Revere, Ruff, and Francoeur. There's Darren Ruff in left field tonight. Josh Harrison shows bunt and takes a strike. Well, the game is underway. 7:06. The time of the first pitch. 67 degrees the game time temperature tonight. Much different than the last two nights that have been in the middle to upper 80s. And here is Harrison with a 1-1 pitch from Cole Hamels.
You know, one of the funny things about the non-run support for Hamels, you would think, well, boy, that's good news for Francisco. Well, he's also one of those five guys that hasn't gotten any run support. Something's got to break tonight, or it could just be a 2-1 ball game.
Well, Josh out on strikes. 47th strikeout of the season so far for Cole Hamels. Rivers Casino tips to win.
Well, you know, Hamels I'm sure had a lot on his mind going back to the offseason about what uniform am I going to be wearing. And there's constant talk about what other contender is going to end up with his services. So he's probably had some games out there where he hasn't stayed completely focused. And the other side, and we have been talking about Francisco already, and he is usually pretty good at bouncing back from bad starts. Last start wasn't all that great. His only poor one of the year. I think he's going to bounce back and have a good one tonight. Looking at the Phillies' offensive stats, this is a team you want to go against. They are not hitting right now.
1-1 to Sean Rodriguez. Popped up foul. Carried out over the first base dugout. Ball and 2 strikes to Sean. 382 is average. Don Hurdle had an interesting comment about Sean today. He was asked about him, and he said that he has a lot of qualities that Russell Martin had here, a lot of intangibles in terms of the way he goes about his business, and he swings and strikes out. So Hamels has struck out the first 2 men he has faced tonight.
Seems focused, doesn't he, Hamels? I don't think his mind is elsewhere right now. He's come out firing strikes, quality pitches. Good slider there just off the plate inside.
Through that cutter. And that's a pitch that he has added to go along with his fastball and change, and still runs a curveball out there every now and again. Andrew McCutchen takes outside for ball 1.
Fastball at 95.
His 3rd home run of the year last night, his first one in exactly a month. 1-1. It's good to see him start to pile up some multi-hit games now, and as he does so, his average begins to climb up to 229. Cole Hamels dealing here in the top of the first. His 3rd all-time on the Phillies strikeout list, and he hits McCutchen. That came a little bit too far inside, and the Pirates have their first base runner. Pirates as a team have been hit more than anybody else. 19 times they have had batters hit so far.
If you're going to get hit, it's a good spot, huh?
There's a little extra padding there. A.J. Burnett had a good outing last night. 7 innings, got his second win of the season. And Marte fouls this one back. Marte has been raking against left-handers. He's 7 for 14 against left-handers this season, left-handed starters, with 4 home runs. Half of his home runs have come off of left-handers. Nothing in 1 to Marte. McCutchen off of first. And a throw over there. Again, the throw by Hamels. Keeping Kutch close to first. 2 out, top of the first. Wind blowing straight in from center field here at Citizens Bank Park.
A real brisk wind also. Yeah. Might not play as easy to hit the ball out of as it normally does.
Pitch up and in. The state Pennsylvania flag, the city flag of Philadelphia at half mast, recognizing the disastrous train crash in Port Richmond, which is just a few minutes away from the 30th Street station near Center City. 2 strikes on Marte.
He's getting some pretty good swings and misses on the slider or cutter. Just can't seem to get a hold of that.
Well, 1 and 2 to Marte.
There it is again. That time Marte able to lay off of it.
Hamels peering in to get a sign from Carlos Ruiz.
Looked like the sign for a changeup.
Marte pops it up foul, and the wind just blows it out of play.
That wasn't even close to staying in here. It definitely looks like the wind's going to have its effect on everything in the air.
More like Chicago here than Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's just kind of cooling off anyway.
Two and 2 the count. McCutchen at first. And Hamels set to deliver to Marte. Inside ball 3. So Hamels will deliver the next pitch with McCutchen on the move. Andrew's got to be sure. Hamel sometimes has that high leg kick where he stalls and then he can change direction. Either go to first or go to the plate.
Well, you should never ever get picked off on a 3-2 because you're not trying to steal the base.
Right. 3-2 pitch, ground ball towards second through the legs of McCutchen. Utley picks it up and throws out Starling. 1 left after half inning. No score. Ryan Sandberg's team coming to the plate for the first time tonight. Phillies lineup is presented by Honda. Leading off is Ben Revere. He's moved from left field to center field tonight, hitting .313 this month. 5 doubles and 4 runs batted in. Galvis a switch hitter, then Utley and Ruff out there. Right-handed hitter batting cleanup, playing left. Howard, Francoeur, Hernandez, another switch hitter, then Carlos Ruiz. And Cole Hamels bats 9. Facing Francisco.
Francisco's numbers brought to you by Hyundai. The ERA is popped up there a little bit. He had that down in the ones for quite a while. Still pretty darn good. Essentially a 2.8. That's nothing to sneeze at, especially for a starter.
Three position players for the Phillies, left-handed hitters against Liriano in the lineup tonight. And Revere lost one to right field. Corey Hart coming in, makes the play. For 1 out.
That ball didn't get out there very far. You would think the outfielders would kind of make a little adjustment. Maybe be playing a little more shallow than they normally would with it wind at their backs.
Frankie has the lowest batting average against in Major League Baseball. Opponents hitting just .149 against him. He delivers a strike to Galvis. Been one of the few bright spots in the offense for the Phillies, hitting .327. 1 ball and 1 strike. And the 1-1. 2 balls, 1 strike. A little different when you see the Phillies with somebody other than Jimmy Rollins playing shortstop every night. Rollins now with the Dodgers.
Kind of thought that this year there would be a lot of new Phillies. Surprised Utley was still a Philly. Howard.
And there's a shot past the diving Walker.
Already talked about Cole Hamels. They're definitely in the need of a rebuild.
Galvis has the first hit of the ball game. Here is Chase Utley.
Utley off to a very poor start, but when you watch him hit, to me, he doesn't really look that much different. Always been a pretty dangerous guy up there, but the numbers are just horrible to this point. 4 extra base hits, is that right?
He has
for the season.
For the season, 3 home runs, 1 double, and the double came the day before the Pirates arrived. Came on Sunday against the Mets. Our Barrel Automotive League leader stat, National League leader in hits per 9 innings. Francisco Liriano, top of the list, 4.6. Shelby Miller, Zach Greinke, Johnny Cueto, Mike Leake. Underneath Francisco Liriano. 0-1. And the time was called but not granted. Time was asked for by Utley, and home plate umpire Toby Basner didn't give it to him. Don't have to. Plus Liriano was already in the act of throwing.
I was kind of surprised Utley took his eyes off Liriano when he was asking for time. Normally they'll keep looking at the pitcher, but they'll put their hand up and be asking for the timeout.
Look at his numbers a year ago, .338. Same number of home runs and in the same neighborhood with runs batted in.
Yeah, isn't that kind of odd? 127 batting average, and he still knocked in 15 runs.
Swinging and miss. Well, he had an RBI in last night's game, but it was on a ground ball out. So he goes over but gets an RBI. Utley 13 out of 102. 13 hits, and 102 at bats. And we'll give you a comparison. Jung Ho Kang, not in the lineup tonight, has 17 hits in 55 at bats. And Utley, foul tip into the glove of Cervelli, and he is out on strikes. First strikeout for Liriano, 2 down.
Utley chases one a little bit downstairs, and you could see that every pitch he saw was outside of the strike zone, but he still went down on strikes.
And you wonder if Ryan Sandberg sent his guys up there without bats, how many'd walk. Liriano's pitches are so deceptive. Slider.
There's a lot of guys like that, and that's really kind of the thing that everybody would like to do. Every pitcher doesn't want to have to throw the ball in the strike zone, but not many people have the deception and the stuff that Liriano has to get those chases.
1-1 to Darren Ruff. Ruff playing left field tonight. Odubel Herrera, the normal center fielder, who's a left-handed hitter, is out of the lineup. Revere moves from left to center. 2 out, 1 ball, 1 strike count to Ruff. In the dirt, 2 balls and a strike. Phillies have scored 3 or fewer runs 22 times this season. They're 3-19 in those games. To right field. That's going to get down for a hit. Around second is Galvis. He'll go to third. And with 2 outs, Phillies have runners at the corners. 2 base hits in the first off of Francisco Liriano.
Again, he gets a chase and a pitch way out of the strike zone, but somehow Ruff got pretty good wood on that. You see that it was maybe 7 or 8 inches off the plate away. I think the key thing there was it was up and away, so he could get the ball to the outfield instead of a ground ball to second.
Ryan Howard, the hitter. Look at how far Galvis gets down the third baseline, Bob, with Harrison playing way off the line.
No reason not to.
Yeah, he is halfway down the line when his secondary lead is finished.
Now, see, I always wonder about this. Now, why wouldn't his primary lead be there?
That's a good point.
Why not take your primary lead way down the line?
You can get off as far as the third baseman. Oh, 1 pitch to Howard. And he hits one toward the middle. 1 hop for Jordy Mercer. Goes on to first. And the Phillies leave 2 men on after getting 2 hits. On to the second inning. Scoreless in Philadelphia. We'll find out how David Ortiz lent guidance to fellow countryman Gregory Polanco. Hit the Links with John Holtzcomb, and there's much more to come on Inside Pirates Baseball, presented by Allegheny Health Network. Tonight after postgame on Root Sports. UPMC scoreboard, no score. Pirates looking for their first hit off of Cole Hamels. Corey Hart, first batter in the second. Ball 1 to Hart. Hart trying to find some rhythm at the plate, some offensive rhythm. His at-bats come infrequently, being a bench player, getting the occasional start against the left-handed starter. And Hurdle getting Corey at bats tonight against Hamels. 1-1 pitch inside, 2-1. This is only the 5th time all year the Pirates have faced a left-handed starter. 2-2. One of them they faced twice, Travis Wood of the Cubs.
No lefties in our division.
Well, they'll see a lefty this weekend other than Travis Wood. Pirates have played the Cubs in 2 different series, and they haven't seen John Lester yet. He will pitch Saturday afternoon opposite Garrett Cole. And Hart strikes out. 3 strikeouts for Cole Hamels. 1 down for the Pirates.
Change up away. Let's see how Hamels also tries to get some chases. I mean, everybody does. Unless you're like Nolan Ryan in his prime or somebody like that. Where you tell them what's coming and where you're throwing it.
Still couldn't hit it.
And say good luck.
I'd say, let me know how that sounds on the way by. Cervelli, a couple of doubles last night. 1-1 count. 267 is average, still searching for his first home run.
He's late on that fastball.
Yeah, 92 miles an hour on the last fastball.
He's already kind of backed off the velocity from that first inning. It was throwing up there 93 to 95.
This comes pretty close to Cervelli, rather. And around the glove of Ruiz. Count is even, 2-2. Outside, full count. Cervelli, 23 hits on the season. Payoff pitch is drilled into center field, a base hit. That's hit number 24 for Francisco Cervelli. First hit for the Pirates tonight. A man aboard with 1 out for Neil Walker. Reserve your seats to the most in-demand games this year with a 12-pack plan. The Flex Pack gives you the flexibility to personalize your plan by selecting the games that best fit your schedule. Fans can lock in the best prices and seating locations to high-demand games, too. Plus, fans who purchase a 12-pack plan receive a postseason ticket pre-sale opportunity. To get your 12-pack plan, go to pirates.com/12packs. Ball 1 to Walker. Right-handed this year, Neil hitting 125, just 2 for 16. Overall, 284. As a lefty, 310. 31 out of 100, exactly 100 at bats lefty. 2-0. Ruiz wants a new baseball.
Might not want one, but he knows he has to take it. Ball bounced. Looks like that one might stay in the game. Nope.
Nope. Toby Bastion says, get it out of here.
Had a dirt smudge on it.
It's imperfect.
Yeah.
Three 3-0 to Walker. Three balls and no strikes. The pitch. Ball four. 4-pitch walk, and the Pirates with 2 men aboard and 1 out.
Oh, that fastball just 91.
Number 10, shortstop, Jordy Mercer.
So Jordy Mercer comes up. Mercer, shortstop, hitting 186. Jordy trying to gain some traction offensively. He's got Cervelli at second base, Walker at first, 1 out. Hitting in front of Liriano. Takes ball 1. Jordy also looking for his first home run. And the 1-0 pitch coming from Hamels. Check the swing. 2 balls and no strikes. That's 6 straight balls thrown by Hamels.
He likes to work fast, but he might need to take a second here. Deep breath and regroup. He's got himself in a bad rut. Missing the strike zone.
Jordy fouls one off his foot, rolls out down to third base.
I think that's one of the reasons that you would like to be a fast worker, so that when things start to go bad, you can kind of back off for a second. Take a moment.
Ouch. Top of the foot.
Like it got underneath that little flap there on the shin guard.
Two and 1 to Jordy. Well, it's 2-2. Took a lot off that pitch. Jordy out in front. Last year, Hamels finished 6th in the Cy Young balloting. A pretty decent season. Mercer down to third, foul. Better than a decent season, but the Phillies did not. Take a look at this Point Park University tweet. Bob, did you ever face an all left-handed lineup while pitching?
Well, I'm sure I did, but I mean, I couldn't tell you time and place. But my guess, it would have either been a St. Louis team or a Houston Astros team, perhaps. They had tons of switch hitters all the time.
Mercer
the
down.
The Astros in the old days. It would have to be a team too that didn't really have that really solid everyday starting core lineup. They'd flop them back and forth.
Here is Liriano.
Pitcher might mess that up.
They could. Frankie to left field. Darren Ruff will handle the slicing ball, and the Pirates will leave 2 on base. 1 hit. Inning and a half in the books here in Philadelphia.
4 in South Philly. I'm Robbie. It's Mikowski. The Altoona Curve have a prospect coming up whose name is not Josh Bell or Tyler Glasnow. His name is Max Moroff, and he is tonight's T-Mobile game changer. Moroff is tied for the team lead with a .342 batting average, and he's reached base in 28 consecutive games. That is 5 shy of a franchise mark of 33. Now, Moroff, you're wondering who he is. He was a 16th round pick in 2012, who the Pirates thought enough of to pay him well above slot value to sign, actually 3 times slot value. Now, Neil Huntington said he's gotten stronger both physically and mentally, and he's getting smarter on how to play the game. They liked what he could become and is progressing quite nicely in Altoona. He can play short or second, and the bat-to-ball skills are coming along nicely. So remember that name, Tim and Bob, Max Moroff. Add that to the already deep list of prospects the Pirates have coming up the system.
Yeah, I think, Robbie, recently he was the Eastern League Player of the Week.
He was. Yeah. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was a week after. It was actually Josh Bell 1 week, and then Max Moroff the next.
And their pitching staff's got a minuscule ERA, too. So things are going well at the AA level for the Pirates, certainly. 0-1 the count to Jeff Francoeur. Right fielder takes outside 1-1. No scores. We're in the Philadelphia half of the second inning. A very breezy and cool evening in Philly. Goes to the backstop, and 2-1 to Francoeur. Francoeur started last night, did not start game 1 Monday. He went 0 for 4. He hit 4 ground balls to the infield. 2 to Walker, 1 to Young, and 1 down to Harrison. Mariano, 2 balls, 2 strikes on Francoeur. Oh, well, let's see where that one was.
Cervelli had a good pitch.
It looked like a good pitch, didn't it?
I mean, with 2 strikes, you want this one called. I mean, that's just drilling the glove.
3-2 pitch, and he chased a bad one. He's going to give himself up.
Yeah, he's going to walk back out of embarrassment. Wow. Did you see where that ball bounced?
Yeah.
And he swung at it. Look at this. That bounced a foot in front of home plate. Wow. That's a chase there.
That is the definition of a chase. And this one down to third base. J-Hay gloves it, throws on to first, and he's got Cesar Hernandez.
Good smart move going with the glove, had the time. Makes it a little easier.
2 out now.
You should only go that bare hand if you just absolutely have no other choice. This is what you want to do. Still got him by a whole step.
That was a nice firm bunt for J-Hay to handle. Carlos Ruiz, the batter.
Got to keep him off the bases. He'll run on you.
Well, last night was a case of fouled up signs.
Something was fouled up.
Strike call.
Tried to steal second base. It was thrown out by a large margin.
1-1 pitch. And this one in the air to right. Right at Corey Hart. And the Phillies gone in order in the second. Liriano retires him. 1-2-3.
Sports is brought to you by the Chevy Equinox and your Western PA Chevy dealers. And by Day Automotive. We're going to make your day. Let's go, Bucks!
Day Automotive, this day in Pirates history. This date, 1960. The Pirates beat the Braves 8-2 at County Stadium in Milwaukee. Dick Groat led the offense by going 6 for 6 at the plate with 3 doubles. First time in 7 years a National League player had gone 6 for 6 in a game. That is our Day Automotive, this day in Pirates history. Back to the top of the order, Josh Harrison.
Got a picture of Dick back here in the hallway behind us in a Philly uniform.
This one's going to be pushed foul by the wind. Yeah, we're walking out the other night. You pointed that out to us, and it was interesting to see him in a Phillies uniform. Saw Dick on opening day. Dick is doing very well.
Amazing athlete.
Absolutely. Just in college basketball Hall of Fame. No minor league time. Played in the NBA with Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne Zollner Pistons. MVP in 1960 with the Pirates. Josh to right field, and that one is going to head toward the seats. That wind continues to push balls in that direction. It's blowing straight that way. One, 2 from Hamels. Inside, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That wind, I guess that would be coming out of the west, huh?
You say so. I don't know what they're. I've
so
lost
that wind's coming from Pittsburgh.
Oh,
it's a good Pittsburgh wind.
This one is going to go towards center field and drop in for a hit. Chase Utley gave it a good run, but ball had some carry, and Josh is aboard with a leadoff single.
Sawed him off a little bit, but that was a good thing because the ball had no carry and fell in for the hit.
Pirates with a man aboard for Rodriguez. Did you get your compass out?
Yeah, the one's out of the northwest.
Northwest, okay. One thing I know, we're south of Center City here. Bob's always prepared. He brings his orienteering gear to a game just in case.
You never know. And that stuff that I bring always comes in handy, right?
That's right. Stopwatch, you know, he brings a stopwatch. He's got his compass.
That's
just, I don't know where you carry all your stuff.
I carry it all inside my iPhone.
There's an app for that. 2-0 pitch. Fouled off and shot with a 2-1 count. You have an app to have the wind go out when the Pirates are up?
Change direction? No. Don't have anything like that.
Figured that one out yet?
Nope. Oh, apps for us getting out of a slump. None of that stuff. There's still a lot of apps to be invented.
2-1 pitch. And Rodriguez a bouncer towards second. Utley, they flip to Galvis for one. Back to first. That's a double play. 6-3. Bases are empty. 2 out for Andrew. And that is our Chick-fil-A double play tonight. Rodriguez bouncing into a twin kill here.
Pretty easily. Hit that firm. Jay going as wide as the umpires would let him, try and do something about it.
Kutch was hit by a pitch in the first. And hits one on the ground to Galvis. That's going to do it for the Pirates in the third. No runs, a hit. That's it. 2.5 done. No score. Pirates and Phillies.
run balls during BP, maybe get a few thrown to them behind the dugout. But this is Zach Campbell right here, and he takes it to a level that I promise no one else in the history of baseball has taken it. So there you see him wearing the yellow Pirate shirt and the black Pirate hat, snagging a baseball, throwing his glove, running from side to side. Now here he goes, whipping behind the Pirates dugout. Scott Bonnet flipping him a baseball, and he switches outfits, switches hats, switches shirts, and tries to look like a whole brand new guy so he can get more baseball, and it worked. Bones end up throwing him another baseball, and here is Zach Campbell. We've been able to track him down for a second, yet before he traded with the Phillies hats. Now you get the Pirates hat back on, and this was earlier. Zach, you fumbled it, man. What happened on that foul ball?
Well, the railing got in my way, and I think that as I reached out for it, a guy was reaching from the opposite direction, and his hand bumped my glove, and so close.
So close. Now, you have caught how many baseballs since 1990? Exactly how many?
Including BP and games, everything, 7,993.
How do you figure out this routine with the hats and the shirts that you wear day in and day out?
Well, when you're big and old and ugly like me, you don't get much sympathy from the players. And catching home runs and BP in games is fun, but I like to get as many as I can. Getting toss-ups from the players is a great way to boost my numbers, and you know, switching hats and shirts, looking like I'm a fan of the visiting team always helps.
All right, now pull this bag up right now. Here's his bag from tonight. How many we got in here?
Well, I got 13 baseballs today. I already gave away a couple to kids, and probably give away a few more before the night is through.
Very quickly, explain the charity involvement you had with these baseballs.
I've been raising money for a charity called Pitch In for Baseball since 2009. Basically, every ball that I snag, people pledge money. It goes to the charity. They provide baseball and softball equipment to underprivileged kids all over the world. So, trying to give something back.
He does, and he collects a lot of them. I said, what do you do with 8,000 baseballs? He said, well, I am a collector at heart, so I do like to keep them. Lives in New York City, travels down for these games, Tim. What a story.
You've met him before, too, haven't you, Robbie?
Yeah, this was in Chicago. Dan Potash actually tracked him down, and we're just checking back on him again. He's got a bag, I'm telling you, it's full. And then he also has the vintage 79 World Series Pirate hat and a Phillies hat, and this one right here. And he's got another shirt on under this. It's a lot to take in, believe me, and he burns a lot of calories during a game.
Yes, I do. I can eat whatever I want during the season, still lose weight.
Ben Revere to center field, and McCut's in there, 2 outs.
He definitely looks like he has a good time in those stands during batting practice, running around trying to snag those balls. Very, very inventive with his idea of changing outfits, giving the guys on the field different looks. So nobody can say, I just gave that guy a ball. No, that was some other guy. He had a red shirt on.
Sounds like something Robbie would have done as a kid over at the vet. I know he did stuff like that. Galvis bunts, and this will roll foul.
You used to not be able to give the balls away like that, though. They get mad at you if you did. Back in the old days, because I don't think got them at such a good price as they do now. If you were throwing balls up into the stands, some coach would say, hey, what are you doing? We need those.
A lot easier to get a baseball today than it used to be.
They wouldn't throw the balls out of the games like that. Like we saw today, ball got a little smudge on it, throw it out. Back then, you'd play with a ball for a while unless it got fouled away. As long as it wasn't too beat up, get too dirty.
1 for 1 today for the Phillies shortstop. And here's the pitch from Liriano. It used to be where during BP you'd see people screaming at the outfielders or whoever, the pitchers, whoever's in the outfield shagging, and say, give me a ball, give me a ball. And they look at you, tease you, then throw it back in. And Jay with a nice stab there. Goes on to first to get him. 3 up and 3 down for the second straight inning for Francisco Liriano. It's time to go find some baseballs. Pirates and Phillies. Top of the fourth inning. Starling Marte to face Cole Hamels.
Yeah, we got the pitcher's duel going that we thought we might.
And he pops up the bunt.
Both teams just a couple of hits.
Strike one on Marte. Ray Searage with Jeff Locke and A.J. Burnett. Having a pitching conversation. Certainly. And Marte hits one up in the air to left field.
Not going to go anywhere. Got the off the end of the bat.
Darren Ruff with the catch. And one down. Well, you're going to have to earn one to get one out tonight, even in this ballpark.
Rough out there.
Made that up all by yourself. Pretty good. So Hamels now with one out facing Hart. And Corey takes a strike. Hart struck out swinging in the second inning. Good night for a hood or a hat.
The weather sure has changed in 48 hours, isn't it?
It really has. Maybe we're just getting spring out of order.
I don't know. I heard that they have frost warnings at home tonight.
You're kidding. Strike two to Corey.
All those flowers I planted going to be okay.
I hope so too. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
0-2 pitch. And that's strike three call. Hamels piling up some strikeouts early in the ball game. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. 2 outs and Cervelli the batter. Strike one as he pulls it down the third baseline. Francisco with a base hit on the second. Raised his average up to 276. Last night, his 6th multi-hit game of the season. This one shot down the first baseline, foul. Blow warm air on the hands. It's so chilly down there.
We haven't seen that in a couple of weeks.
No, I know it. 0-2 pitch. And the breaking ball is hit on the ground toward third. Up with it, Hernandez whips it to first against Cervelli. Pirates going in order in the top of the fourth. A lot of that going around here tonight. 3 of 4. Spring fever. Feels more like the fall here tonight.
Over there. Unwrapping cheesesteaks up there.
Pretty good guess. Chase Utley, second baseman, leads off for the Phillies, and the strike is called.
Since we only come here once a year, I decided to have cheesesteaks every single day.
Did you?
3 days in a row is all I've had. You got to strike when the iron is hot.
I was walking downtown yesterday, and I smelled like I was inside of a cheesesteak. They're everywhere.
Yeah. I like there's one right next to the hotel. I think it's called the one I go to. It's called Steve's. I think Blast has something to do with it.
Does it? 1-1 pitch. And Utley takes a strike on the outside corner. It's about knee high. Well, you can get cheese cup for $2.50.
Cheesesteak for $11.
A cup of cheese
bad.
for $2.50. Roast pork would be good, but you got to have the cheesesteak here in Philly.
Yeah, it's just something you do when you're here. What kind of cheese you get on yours?
In Philly, you get the cheese whiz.
I can't do that. I pay the extra 20 cents to get the provolone.
Strike 3 called, and out is Utley. He has struck out twice tonight. Right there, good pitch.
That's a good pitch. That's beautiful
paint.
That's commanding the fastball. That's something that Teak and I talked about during the pregame. That was not his strength in his last start, throwing that fastball where he wanted to. Tonight seems to be doing that very well. There's another one. Paint right on the inside corner for strike 1.
Aaron Ruff had a base hit. First inning. I do like the provolone.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I normally get on it, but when I'm here, go with the cheese.
That's what everybody gets. But
you're different.
Yep.
We've all known that.
I haven't really got crazy today. I had him throwing a couple slices of bacon.
Did you really?
Yeah, that really was added a little difference to it.
A cheesesteak with provolone and bacon.
Yeah.
Pitch inside the rough. Was it? Well, I'm going to ask her, was it good? But of course it was good. Bacon.
Well, you can't. Whatever you put bacon on, from salads to donuts.
Yeah,
it's good. It's one of those kind of. It's the ultimate versatile food.
Strike 2 to Ruff. Saw Robbie one day with bacon potato soup, and he put bacon bits on the bacon potato soup. Swing and a miss, and Ruff out on strikes. 2 strikeouts to start this inning for Francisco Liriano. He has 4 in the game. Tonight's Allegheny Health Network injury update has to do with pitching. Phillies have been without Cliff Lee all season. He was shut down in spring training with a tear in his left flexor tendon. He missed more than half the season last year with a strain in that same tendon. He's on the 60-day disabled list. The Phillies missing his services.
You think they did that on the truck on purpose? I'm talking about bacon. They give a health update.
So
I think they did that on
purpose. It's a hidden message,
yeah.
Bob.
Yeah.
Ryan Howard pulls this one foul.
Gypsies are always on.
I don't know if they sell more cheesesteaks or hot dogs here. Howard right at Walker. 1 hopper. And for the 3rd straight inning, the Phillies are gone in order.
is brought to you by Allegheny Health Network. Health for all. By Kenny Ross, Ask a Neighbor. And by Levin Mattress, located in all Levin Furniture showrooms and freestanding stores. Let's go Bucks!
There is an illustrated history of the Philadelphia Phillies, also known as Memory Lane. Some of the great ball players that have come through here. You know, Robin Roberts, on this date, 1954, gave up a leadoff home run in the game to the Reds, Connie Mack Stadium, and then retired the next 27 in a row.
Whoa, 27.
And won the game 8-1. Walker pulls this one a long way, but foul. So Roberts in the Hall of Fame. It was one of his 272 complete games in a Phillies uniform. Most in franchise history. And the next guy with the largest number of complete games for the Phillies, also in the Hall of Fame, with 219 complete games. That's Grover Cleveland Alexander. 1-2 pitch. Well, that's not gonna go.
I think Ronald Reagan played him in a movie one time.
Oh yeah,
I believe so.
what movie was that? Get your staff on that. Look it up.
Throw out the first pitch, it was called. No, I don't know. I can't
You're
remember.
making that up.
No, I'm not. Look, go ahead, Google it.
Well, the name of the movie you're making up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Over Cleveland Alexander. Richie Ashburn, Jim Bunning on the sides of him. 3-2. Feature this ballpark, left center field, Ashburn Alley. Three-two pitch. And this one's fouled off. That's the way right there. Get to Ashburn Alley.
That hits and RBIs, maybe?
Yep. Also get a cheesesteak right near there.
308 and 2400.
Line drive to center field and a base hit by Walker. Leadoff single for the Bucs second baseman. Ends a string of 5 straight set down by Cole Hamels. Hamels will face Mercer.
Somebody needs to break through. It's time. That leadoff hitter on base. Do it now.
Jordy lets a strike go by. Nothing in 1-2. Jordy.
That was a pitcher's pitch. I'm going to hit that one on the first swing. I didn't take that one.
And the 0-1 on the way. And Jordy lets that one go. And he finds himself in the hole 0-2. Game 1 of this series, the Pirates in the early part of the game, much earlier than this, were swinging at a lot of non-strikes. And they've taken some strikes here tonight against Cole Hamels.
Both times when he's looked down for signs, Jordy's kind of like rub something right down on his chest. And I'm wondering if it almost is on the spot where he got hit with that pitch this year.
When he squared the butt
yeah,
against
remember
Milwaukee.
that? He got drilled in the chest.
Yeah, Matt Garza hit him.
Right there next to the P. They didn't do it this time. Oh, yeah, he did. See? Did it again.
There comes the 2-2. And Jordy flares one over the head of Chase Utley. That's into right center for a base hit. This will give Liriano a chance to get 2 men into scoring position.
That's an important hit here, batting 8th. Get that pitcher in a position to do something good. Got down in that 0-2 count immediately, and now you're defensive. You can't take anything real close anymore. So had to just kind of fight off that pitch. It was a strike, but it was right on the inside corner, up on his hands. Strong enough to push it out there far enough for the hit. So now Liriano will try to bunt this ball down toward first base, try to make Hernandez field it.
And he offered at it, throw down to second. See that often on a bunt attempt. Catcher's trying to get the runner at second base. Walker got back.
The guy at second's always trying to get that good jump so he can get to third, especially on when it's a force play like it is in this instance. And sometimes you just take that last little lunge thinking the ball's going to be bunted, and you'll actually turn your hips and your shoulders toward third, and then you're toast.
I want to get out of the way.
I almost tried to bunt that even though it was up and in. I thought like he was trying to keep it off you. No, he moved the bat out of there.
He was able to get the bat back. Most importantly, not getting hit.
Yeah, that's what we want to do there.
And again, fans on the attempt.
Standing a little too far from the baseball. Needs to get a little closer. That front foot of his was pointing toward first base when he was trying to make that last bunt.
1-2 pitch from Cole Hamels. And he gets the bunt down. And Hamels has one play. It's to first. And the second successful sacrifice bunt for Francisco Liriano puts 2 men in scoring position.
Not the ideal spot. They definitely had a play possibly at third base, but when you get 2 strikes on you, then it's just like, well, I got to get it down now. So maybe you're not worrying too much about the control of the bunt. I would say if we were with playing the Cubs right now, that would have been at least an out at third, maybe even a double play. But Ryan Howard not real aggressive on making that play.
Second baseman Josh Harrison.
But a good aggressive first baseman gets an out at third base every time on that bunt.
Ojai, a chance to get the Bucks on the board. No score, top half of the 5th. Infield is in. And Harrison late on that swing. Ojai 1 for 2 tonight. 2 for 5 in the series. And he launches one out of play down the right side for strike 2.
Get the pitch he was looking for. Something up and away to hit to the outfield. Just didn't get there with the head of the bat in time. And this is the location he wants. Up and away. Really a good pitch to hit toward right field.
0-2, fouled it off. Cashes it safely in 7 his last 8 games. Make it 8 of his last 9 now after his base hit in the 3rd inning against the Phillies. Done well against Philadelphia. Hamels creating a frame around the strike zone. And it gets away, and here comes Walker.
It hit him.
Oh, it hit him. It's a dead ball, and Neal has to go back to third base. So the bases are full of Bucks. Thought that ball hit Ruiz and got away, but it hit Harrison. And now the bases are loaded for Sean Rodriguez. Second hit batsman for Hamels tonight. Right there.
Threw it behind him almost.
First baseman Sean Rodriguez.
hitting right in front of his ankle.
Quick visit from Bob McClure. He's already back in the Phillies dugout. And Sean Rodriguez, big opportunity here for Sean.
Yeah, that changes the job too for the Phillies. And instead of trying to cut the run off at home, they'll move back now and look for a double play now that they have a runner at first.
Walker at third, Mercer at second, Harrison at first, and Rodriguez with one out. A chance to get the Pirates on the board. Sean takes inside, ball one. .361 for a home run. .1-0 pitch. And a ground ball slowly hit to third.
And they foul ball.
Come to the plate. Well, it's off Rodriguez. Where we sit, we're up behind the plate. I can't see if it goes off a front foot or not. And it did that time. There goes Sean down. I saw Walker running to the plate and Hernandez charging a baseball. I thought that was a fair ball.
Right in the big toe. Be comfortable. So he just whacked his other foot with a bat. Hit one on with the ball, and just as he got in, kind of did a J-hay and dropped the bat right on his foot.
1-2.
You're allowed to walk outside the box and swing and miss. Sean took a little stroll there to get his thoughts together.
And Rodriguez down on strike. Strikeout number 6 for Hamels.
Pretty good breaking ball, we'll call it. Not sure what Cole wants to call it. That one had some bite on it.
Kutch 0 for 1. Time to come through here. 2 outs, bases loaded. And he hammers it to center field. A base hit. Bucks on the board. Walker scores. Here comes Mercer around third. He'll score. It's a 2-out, 2-run single for Andrew McCutchen, and the Pirates lead it 2-0.
Now Cole made a bad mistake with that pitch. Yeah, he threw some really good ones to Sean, and then he starts off one of the better hitters in the game, even though he's been slumping early in the season. He threw him just a fastball right down the middle. Put it on a tee for him. Kutch slams it right back through the box. No, not through the box, over his head. When you get up there with the bases loaded, you're just hoping you get a pitch out over the plate like that to hit.
StatCast said the ball exit speed 100 miles an hour.
Left the infield like a Caminero fastball.
So Kutch with 2 more RBIs. RBIs 18 and 19.
I think it came in at 92, so he added 8 to it.
Runners on the corners. Hamels stretch. 0-1 to Marte. There goes McCutchen. And the throw down to second base, not in time. And Utley came in front of the bag to cut it off. Stolen base for Andrew McCutchen. That's his second.
That was a good jump. No way they're going to throw out Kutch. All Utley was worried about was J-hay at third. Yeah, he never even ran to the bag. He was going to cut in front the whole time.
Oh, 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Marte 0 for 2. Again, he came into the game 7 for 14 with 4 home runs against left-handers. He's 0 for 2 tonight. There's the pitch from Hamels. Inside. It's blocked by Ruiz. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hamels at 90 pitches. We're in the 5th inning, and a third of his pitches in the game have come this inning. McCutchen at second base. He's got 4 hits in his last 8 at bats with runners in scoring position, going back to the 29th of April. And Marte looking to do the same here. 2-2. Starling hit a home run Monday night, his 8th of the year. We talked about it, right afterward, but it's still amazing to think that he didn't have his 8th home run of the season last year until August 18th. And on the 11th of May this year, he has his 8th.
He is so physically gifted. It would just be amazing to see him.
Taps this one to third. Hernandez throwing safe at first, and Harrison scores.
That's what I was talking about with being so physically gifted. I mean, it's kind of a routine ground ball. Gets the safe call. Sandberg doesn't like it, and he's going to come out and discuss it a little bit. And we'll have to take a look at the replay. I mean, it's certainly a bang play that the call, as you're watching it live, could have gone either way.
It's such a big hop at first, and then looks like they get there at the same time, don't they?
No, I think he's going to be out.
Ooh, they might overturn this. Yeah, they're going to look at it.
Yeah, I think that he'll be called out on this one.
And this will cost the Pirates a run if that's the case. So the crew chief, Dale Scott, will don the headset. Ryan Sandberg challenging the call at first base. And they will go to the replay operations center in New York, where the decision will be made. The decision relayed to the umpires here, and it didn't take them very long, and the call is overturned. Marte is out. Pirates end up with 2 runs on 3 hits, and they'll lead 2. Bucks on the board, 2-0.
Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
On the UPMC scoreboard, 2-0 Pirates. 2 runs on 5 hits, 3 hits in the 5th off of Cole Hamels. And Andrew McCutchen, 2-run single, driving in Neil Walker and Jordy Mercer. And Francisco Liriano to face Jeff Francoeur. Struck Francoeur out his first time up. Francoeur swung at a pitch that was at least a foot, maybe 2, maybe 3 feet in front of home plate. And he didn't even bother running down to first base. He just gave himself up. Francoeur behind in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 pitch. By the way, Bob, the time of that review by the replay operations center, just 34 seconds. And he didn't need very much time to look it over.
I finally figured out that those times are always just from headset on to headset off.
1-2, and this one is lifted in the air to left center field. And the 2-strike pitch is dropped in for a leadoff single for Jeff Francoeur.
It's not really the time that the game was delayed. It's while they were talking.
Well, the Bucs will battle the Mets May 22nd on a Free Shirt Friday. The fun starts on Federal Street with live entertainment, food, games, and more at a Friday night block party presented by Barrel Automotive. First 20,000 fans get a free Pirates t-shirt designed by A.J. Burnett. Compliments of People's Natural Gas. For tickets, go to pirates.com/Free Shirt Friday. This one to right field off the bat of Hernandez. Francoeur rounding second. He's heading for third. And the Phillies with runners at the corners and nobody out.
Well, Frankie's got to get to pitching. Got a little bit of a mess going here. Not a bad first pitch. Fastball in on the corner.
Hernandez inside outed it to right. Francoeur hustling all the way to third. And the catcher Carlos Ruiz, he flied to right field in the second. 0 for 1.
I'd love to see him hit a ground ball to somebody right now. Go ahead and give up that 1 run.
The time is called. There was a piece of debris that floated right down in front of Liriano. There it goes. Get out of here.
Yeah, that wind. A little reminder of old Candlestick.
All inside.
Some of the old ballparks just won't go away. They just keep reminding you of themselves. Anytime you see kind of a cool wind blowing papers around it, I think everybody that ever went to San Francisco back at that time will think of Candlestick Park. Whoa! Speaking of cold wind,
roll down our TV
yeah,
monitor. That almost
about everything
got blown out the window. Hold this thing up. It almost fell out. It's like a sail. There comes the 1-1 pitch to Ruiz. 2 balls and a strike. Cleveland tonight, the Indians are hosting the Cardinals, and Corey Kluber, the Indians had a no-hitter into the 7th. Johnny Peralta broke it up with a base hit. Indians leading 2-0. Cervelli holding the glove there. We'll see if that was close or not.
And he's got his head turned too. Talking about it a little bit. Certainly it was very close. Didn't light up that box. Technically it was a ball.
To left field, a base hit. Francoeur will score. Hernandez heading to third. And heading to second base is Ruiz. He is safe. 2-1.
Had to throw him a strike. Nothing Liriano could do. Base hit. I was really kind of surprised at. Oh, that's why. Wow, that was a blunder. I was going to say I was surprised that Ruiz could get to second base on that. He's not very fast, but Liriano didn't realize that the play was at second base, and even when he did realize it, he just kind of flicked it in like, Marte. He just flicked the ball in like he was just, kind of getting the ball back to the infield like there was no urgency. If he comes up firing the second base, it's definitely just a single.
Pitcher Cole Hamels takes a strike. Yeah, no question. If he came up firing, and Ruiz either stays at first, or if he tried it, he would have been a dead duck at second.
I think Marte was surprised that Ruiz was even trying to get to second, thinking about it. Caught him sleeping a little.
He will get credit for a double. 3 straight hits by the Phillies. Breaking ball in the corner for a strike call. It's 0-2. The tying run is at third base. The go-ahead run is at second. 2-1 ball game here tonight. Pirates have taken the first 2 games of this 4-game set. Pitch. It's an important series. Every series important series. That's 1-2. But when you're a team that expects to be in contention every night is so important. And Hamels out on strikes. 1 out.
Hamels pretty good hitting pitcher. It's not automatic you're going to get him out, especially a strikeout. And that's exactly what he needed. That runner just 90 feet away is the tying run.
Ben Revere 0 for 2. He's flying out twice, once to right, once to center. One man out. And the pitch from Liriano is a foul ball to plate. And right here, he could use a strikeout.
See by the way the middle infielders are that they'd even just take a ground ball right now. They want another out. I'll let the game be tied up just to get one more out.
0-1 pitch. And Cervelli needs a chat with Liriano. What's he telling him here?
Well, they're talking about the open base at first, I'm sure, and whether that's an option or not. Phillies have their best hitter as far as batting average on deck. So that had to be the main conversation there.
Outside to Revere, 2-1.
Maybe Cervelli thought that he was pitching around him. He didn't want him to, or maybe he went out there to say, hey, it's 2-0, but that doesn't mean we have to give in.
And a ground ball to the right side. This is going to tie the game. Revere is out. Scoring is Hernandez. It's 2-2. Revere with an RBI, his 11th. And a go-ahead run. Ruiz down at third base.
Well, this wasn't best case scenario, but it was definitely something that the Pirates were willing to trade. They had Walker playing back. Make sure that a base hit didn't score 2, but they were willing to give up that tying run to get another out.
Freddie Galvis takes ball 1. Galvis 1 for 2.
38 base hits. 115 at bats.
Toward the right field line, long run for Hart. That ball drops in. Phillies take the lead. fourth hit of the inning. Ruiz comes in to score. And Galvis with his 9th RBI. He's 2 for 3. Corey Hart just couldn't get to it.
A little flare down the end, or down the side there into the corner. This ball obviously just off the end of the bat, not hit well. About a foot or so inside the chalk.
Chase Utley has struck out twice, once swinging, once looking. And swings and misses there. Corey Hart just doesn't have the speed he used to have before the knee surgeries. One blowing the ball in that direction also. Pitch outside, 1-1. There have been games against left-handers where we've seen Rodriguez in right field and Hart at first base. That flip-flop tonight. And Clint Hurdle was asked about that before the game, and he said that this is a fast infield, and they wanted the guy they felt was their best infield defender. And Sean Rodriguez out there at first base tonight. And Pedro not in the lineup against the left-hander. It's up and in. Ground ball right to Rodriguez.
Ball got there quickly.
It did. The Phillies scored 3 runs on 4 hits, and they take a 3-2 lead. Top of the 6th inning. Earlier we had a question tweeted to us by Tim. He wanted to know about Bob Walk facing an all left-handed opponent lineup. Well, 3 times, all 3 times against the Cardinals. Look at that first lineup. Go down the order. Coleman, Smith, Herford, Pendleton, Morris.
Who's hitting 7th there?
That's Hurdle. Clint Hurdle right before Spanky. Michael Vallier. Yeah. How about that?
The fans liking there. Well, I said it'd be either St. Louis or I thought maybe Houston. It ended up being St. Louis 3 times. A lot of switch hitters in those lineups.
Yeah. Staff got on that as soon as you asked the question. Great job. Great job by the staff.
I think the brain did that.
And you can always tweet us here in the booth. #BucksBooth. No balls and 2 strikes quickly to Corey Hart. He has struck out twice tonight. Cole Hamels now pitching with a lead for the first time. And Hart strikes out for the 3rd time. Strikeout number 7 for Hamels.
I'm going to call that a slider. It's 84 miles an hour. It's an awfully good pitch.
Well, Corey having a tough night.
According to my sheet, he doesn't throw a slider. He throws a cutter. But if you throw your cutter or your fastball at 92 and your whatever that is at 84, I call that a slider. Can't be 8 mile an hour difference between your cutter and your fastball.
Just from looking at it, it looks more like a slider than a cutter.
You know, that's why for all these years, I got in the habit early on of calling guys curveballs and sliders breaking balls, because so many guys just, it depends on what they want to call it. You know, whatever. You know, some guys
they have a slurve.
Yeah, and so I don't really get all hung up on that, on names. It's, you know, the balls will do what they do, and you can call them anything you want. The difference, I think, if the ball comes up over the top of your fingers at release, then that should be called a curveball. If it comes off the very tip of your fingers where you're just kind of pulling down on the side, then that should be called a slider. And really a cut fastball and a slider, they're like real close cousins. A cut fastball is just a slider that you threw a little harder and it didn't break much.
Cervelli stays alive, 2-2.
And it seems like with every kind of changing generation, they'll come up with new terminology for older things, whether they're a pitch or whatever. And you think about the game of baseball, it's been going on for well over a century. There's not a whole lot of new stuff going on, just new names for old stuff.
Well, sometime, I don't know when, control evolved into command. That's just one example, but yeah, it's just different terminology for the same things. Payoff pitch. Off the deck, foul ball. Three and 2 to Francisco Cervelli. He's 1 for 1 tonight. He has hit in 3 straight games. And the 3-2 struck him out. 8 strikeouts now for Hamels. The season high for strikeouts for Hamels is 9. He struck out 9 Cardinals in St. Louis on the 27th of April. Walker takes what's called strike 1.
Game of baseball can turn so quick. Last time he was out on the mound, he was down a couple of runs and had runners at second and third. Call went against him at first base. Looked like he'd given up another run. And then it got overturned. The inning was over, and then he went back out there with a 1-run lead. It's really why, as a starting pitcher, you got to really learn not to panic. And I'm always talking about bending a little bit, not breaking as a starter. It's a different mindset than when you come in relief. Give up a couple of runs, you almost just have to ignore it. Like it didn't happen. Just keep plugging away. It's one of my favorite things that pitching coaches would tell you over the years when they would come out. One of the favorite, I've heard it probably 100 times. It's like, that's all right, don't worry about it. You hold them right there, we're going to win this game. Always they would say that all the time. Maybe not those exact words, but pretty close to it. And at the time, it's the last thing you want to hear. You're mad. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to hold them up. We're going to win the game. But that truly is the way you have to think out there. You can't ever give up on the possibility of like, okay, that's it, no more runs, and we'll come back and win this game.
1-2, and Walker down to third base. Hernandez up with it. There's Neal out. Pirates done in order in the top half of the 6th inning. Phillies 3, Pirates 2 after 5.5. Against Aaron Harang. It's a 105 afternoon game. Coverage begins here on Root Sports at 12:30. 2-2 for Worley, 3-3 for Harang. And Vance, former Philly, 23 strikeouts in his 6 starts. He is prepared to get after it tomorrow. Pirates trying to get back after it here tonight. Bottom of the 6th inning, down a run is Francisco Liriano and crew. Darren Ruff, the left fielder, takes a strike. Ruff 1 for 2, had a base hit in the 1st inning, and then in the 4th inning he struck out swinging. And Liriano is 0-1. Now it's 0-2.
Now Liriano is the guy now that has to think, okay, no more runs, can't give up anything. I've only thrown 75 pitches so far, so I probably got a couple more innings left in me, and they have to be zeros.
Meantime, Cole Hamels' pitch count is elevated. 109 pitches for Hamels.
Liriano throws up a couple of zeros. He's got a good chance still at winning this one game.
Yeah, Ruff down on strikes. 6 strikeouts for Francisco.
Never threw a strike, got a strikeout. But I think everybody has heard, over the years, decades, about how important confidence is to the baseball player, whether he's hitting or pitching. And the things that we're talking about right now from the pitcher's point of view, that's what it is. It's all about confidence. By having that hope and really believing, okay, we're going to win. I just gave up a couple of runs, maybe 3 runs, whatever, but it's not going to hurt us. And that gives you that mental edge, that confidence to continue to believe you're going to make your pitches and hopefully execute them. Hitters, same way. You can't go to the plate or go to the mound already thinking you're beat. Not believing that, okay, this is the at bat or this is the pitch that I'm going to get the big out on or get the big hit.
3-1 to Ryan Howard.
Ryan Howard, he's kind of been going down the last couple of years. Hadn't been like he used to be, but You know, I'm sure if you asked him, he still has confidence in himself for leading the league in home runs. You have to believe like that when you play this game.
Liriano issues the free pass to Howard, and this will bring up Jeff Francoeur. Francoeur up with one out and a man on. College students, you can save up to $10 on tickets to all Sunday through Friday games at PNC Park. All students with a valid college email address can save big on tickets in the outfield or grandstand. To purchase your tickets, visit pirates.com/student. Great way to get to the game. A 3-2 Philadelphia lead, one out, bottom of the sixth. Pitch to Francoeur. Ball one. 215 the average. Back-to-back starts. Started last night in right field too. Made a great play in the first batter of the ball game when Gregory Polanco hit one high off the scoreboard, but he was there to grab it. Room service double play ball, and the Bucks are out of the inning. We're on to the seventh. It's a 3-2 Philadelphia lead. Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia with Bob Walk and Robbie Inch-Mikowski. I'm Tim Neverett. 3-2. Phillies in front, out hitting the Pirates 6-5. We start the seventh inning. Francisco Liriano is out on deck. Jordy Mercer leads off, facing Cole Hamels. Takes a strike. Jordy is 1 for 2 with a run scored. The base hit in the fifth inning. The Pirates need to find a way against Cole Hamels. And he rips one foul. No activity at all in the bullpens. They're quiet.
Flower gardens.
Very, very well decorated here. Jordy to right field, right to Francoeur. One out. Pedro Alvarez has a bat in his hand. We might see him if there's a right-handed reliever who comes in.
Pirates pitcher Francisco Liriano.
112 pitches and no relief in sight for Cole Hamels. Ryan Sandberg probably has a different thought about Cole Hamels, the veteran, in terms of pitch count. Not like he's a young prospect they're trying to save innings for or whatnot, but Hamels has been here before. A 1. Mariano fouls it straight back, and it's 0-2.
Well, you know, it's not like guys are going to melt too if they throw 125 pitches.
They're not?
No.
Yeah, Franklin strikes out. 2 outs. And now the Phillies do get a little activity going in the bullpen.
Oh, I'm sure they're going to get him out of here fairly soon. He'll be at 120 eventually.
Ben
So
Giles.
what's he got now? 115?
Yeah, 115. Pitch to Harrison. Ground ball, left side, backhanded by Galvis. Throw to first, and he got it. Pirates going in order for the second straight inning. On to the bottom of the 7th. Stretch time in Philly, 3-2. And Cole Hamels having a night, leading 3-2. We thought it would be somewhat of a pitcher's duel, and it's been somewhat that. But
I struck out 18 one time.
Over how many games?
It was July. It was a month.
Month of July. Cesar Hernandez. Cole Hamels got the handshakes and high fives. Done for the night. And a bouncer to third base, playable for J-Hay. 1 out. Carlos Ruiz, who doubled in the 5th, drove in a run. Phillies with a 3-run 5th inning. Now, that is a huge inning for the Phillies. They're averaging under 3 runs a game. And they got 3 runs in 1 inning tonight.
Those averages will trick you.
Yeah, they will. That's why they're averages. So Giles out there, he's a tough customer in their bullpen. Wes Blanco on to pinch hit. Did so last night and the night before. And Ruiz with a 3-ball count on him. 88 pitches for Liriano. Strike after 3-0.
Let those guys swing 3-0. They got to be disciplined, though, that they're not going to be chasing bad pitches. They have to be selective, a certain type of pitch, and in a certain spot.
Right center field, up in the air, long run for McCutchen, and calling for it is Hart. Ruiz is out.
That wind the whole time, pushing it toward Hart.
Andrew McCutchen sprinted a long way, thinking he might have a chance on it, but
look how far he ended up going.
Yeah, Corey Hart was there.
Heard Hart and decided to peel off.
Well, here is Andres Blanco, switch hitter. Maybe the wind pushed McCutchen all the way over there. Blanco had a pinch hit double in the 6th inning of last night's game. Hitting .269. Blanco batting for Hamels in the bottom of the 7th. 2-0. It's 2-1. Pirates picked up 2 runs in the 5th. Thought they had 3, but Marte called safe at first base on a ground ball to third. Ryan Sandberg challenged and won his challenge. Call was overturned, and that was the end of the inning. So the Bucs settled for 2 runs on 3 hits in the 5th against Cole Hamels. And that's all the offense tonight. 5 hits scattered. Other than those 3 in the 5th, another hit in the 2nd inning from Cervelli, another hit in the 3rd from Harrison. McCutchen a 2-run single. Driven in both Pirate runs. And Andres Blanco will take first base, a 2-out walk to the pinch hitter. Leadoff man Ben Revere coming up with Blanco at first. Blanco can run a little bit. And Hurdle and Dave Joust discussing. Let's go into the bullpen phone. Ben Revere, an RBI in the 5th on a ground out. Strike 1. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. I guess the phone's not working.
Yeah, they're going to have to use the old-fashioned hand signals.
Luis Rojas has the phone, but not hearing what Clint had to say, so they're doing the old-fashioned hand signals from long distance. Maybe some smoke signals.
Maybe get on the telegraph. Oh, no, it's working now. They're talking. It was just a wrong number, was all.
I think one of those phones is directly to a cheesesteak place.
But, you know, there were some. I remember some minor league ballparks that had phones in the bullpen. AAA parks where you actually did have to dial a number.
Did you?
Yeah, you could get all around the ballpark by dialing numbers.
Bobby LaFramboise is getting up, the left-hander, the right-hander Rob Scahill.
You could dial the press box, your dugout, their dugout, their bullpen. It's Columbus. I think I've told this story before. I got one of their pitchers up twice.
You did.
Every time we get somebody on base, I'd call
their bullpen
and say a name and then hang up real quick and they'd start throwing. Third time I did it, they looked across the, for the other corner and they knew what was up then.
You're a bad man.
You got to entertain yourself.
Was in Columbus.
I find stuff out like that. Dangerous.
A little flare into left field by Ben Revere.
A flare, that's the definition of a flare there, one. When your flare is handled by the shortstop, it's definitely a flare.
Now with 2 outs, the Phillies with runners at first and second. Ben Revere is 1 for 4.
Did that make it to the grass on the fly? That might have hit the dirt.
I think it made the back end of the infield.
Boy, that's getting sawed off. But the old saying, it looks like a line drive in the box score the next morning.
So Ray coming out to buy a little time for the relievers. Hill and LaFramboise. LaFramboise here because Antonio Bastardo is on the paternity list. He expects to rejoin the club in Chicago. Bobby would go back to Indy. Home plate umpire Toby Basner comes out and say, hey, we got to go. The batter for the Phillies will be the shortstop, Freddie Galvis. Phillies looking to add on here in the 7th inning. They lead 3-2. Low ball 1. Galvis 2 for 3. He's the only Philly with multiple hits in the game. Inside 2-0. Mariano's outing is getting rapidly shorter.
How far Galvis puts his left foot before he makes the stride. It's pretty amazing how far to third that is.
His heel's on the chalk line.
It's over the chalk line. It's almost
it is
out of the box.
Yeah, his toes on the chalk line.
Look how
now.
far it is. Yeah, toes on the chalk line.
3-0. Ariano can't zero in on a strike to Galvis. Walked him on 4 pitches. That's probably going to be it. Bases are loaded, 2 out. One more lefty coming up. Going to let Francisco pitch to Chase Utley with the bases loaded. Utley is 0 for 3. Struck him out twice.
Pretty crucial at bat here. One run down late in the game. Big out. Got to get it.
Ground ball to first. A sprint to the bag and Rodriguez wins it. Liriano does get Utley and the Phillies leave him loaded in the 7th. night here in Philadelphia. Francisco Liriano touched up for the 3 runs on 4 hits in the 5th inning. Left the bases loaded in the 7th. Andres Blanco remains in the ball game, and he will go to third base. And the new pitcher for Philadelphia is right-hander Ken Giles.
And you mentioned when he was warming up, he is a tough one. Look at those numbers. Hasn't given up hardly anything. The ERA just 0.63. Opponents hitting .211 off of him.
Gregory Polanco will hit for Rodriguez. Sean finished the night 0 for 3, and Gregory makes his first plate appearance against Giles. Cesar Hernandez stays in the game. He goes to second base. Chase Utley is out. Giles' first pitch to Polanco was in for a strike. With Rodriguez coming out of the ball game, either Hart moves into first or we'll see Pedro come up at some point. And this one pulled foul for strike 2. 0-2. Sean's night is done as Polanco hits for him. No balls and 2 strikes. And that's upstairs. 1-2. Polanco had 2 runs batted in last night. Second multi-RBI game of the season. His other one was back on the 23rd of April.
Pedro's getting serious now. He's changed to his game bat.
Yep, got his gamer there. It's down low. His last multi-RBI game came against the Cubs at home. Dave Jones
telling him who he's going to hit for, what scenario.
Two. Polanco hits a bullet down the right field line. Foul.
Smoked it. Wish that one would have stayed fair so we could see what the velocity was. He hit that one hard. That was 100 mile an hour. Had to be.
I agree. Yeah, he really got around on that one. Straighten it out now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody out. Polanco leading off the Pirates' 8th. Down a run. Giles pitch. And Polanco fouls it down the third base side.
Cued that right off the end.
That was about 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, with that.
Well, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Polanco. And he hits this one well to center field, but Revere will play it. And there's 1 out. 1 down in the 8th. Bringing the lumber, brought to you by Yellowwood. As Andrew McCutchen delivered with a 2-run base hit in the 5th inning for RBIs numbers 18 and 19. Andrew McCutchen bringing the lumber. Have to find a home run stroke right about now.
Found it last night.
This one down to third. And Blanco has a problem with it, recovers and throws him out. Wow, what a throw.
Nice arm there. Very nice arm. Come off the bench and make that throw. Pointing to something over there. Chest high right on over the bag also. Yeah, you better duck. That guy's got an arm.
Blanco with a great throw to retire McCutchen. Starling Marte.
You come right off the bench. You've been sitting over there and get a fireball across the diamond like that. Just right across the bag. Well over in the grass. Pretty play.
And a base hit for Starling. He's 1 for 4. 2-out single. Bucks with the tying run aboard with 2 out. And now Pedro. Pedro will hit for Corey Hart. And time for a game changer here.
Marte steal.
Marte struck that ball solidly, Bob. The ball left the bat, according to StatCast, at 108 miles an hour.
Yep. I can see that. So that's a home run if he elevates it 108. That long home run he hit in Milwaukee earlier. Remember that one way back there?
Yeah, by the slide.
Up by the slide. That was 111. Just 3 miles per hour harder. So that velocity on that ball through the hole out the left field. I mean, that's home run speed. It's all generated by bat speed. That's basically what these exit numbers. It's what the exit polls are showing. They show
the exit velocity.
The exit velocities are showing the bat speed, and Marte has a great bat speed, so he's going to hit some absolute rockets. I like exit polls better. I like that. Well, the exit polls show.
November, you'll hear all about those.
It's too late. We'll be off the air by then. We're an October sport.
Marte off first, and waiting at the plate is Pedro. Ken Giles to deliver. Ball 1.
That was wrong about the game. He's got the bat now in his hand that he had that very first time we showed him in the dugout. When he was first starting to get ready.
Two balls, no strikes. Well, Pedro hoping to get a pitch in a certain location.
That one's got a little different paint job on it.
That's a different bat. Here comes the 2-0 from Giles.
Not where he was looking. So they took it.
Couldn't hold up. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Alvarez. 2 down, Pirates half of the 8th. Tying run aboard, Ken Giles in relief of Cole Hamels. Now Pedro strikes out. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. 3-2, heading to the bottom of the 8th. Game 3 of this 4-game set. Point Park University tweet, #BucksBooth. When were phones first used in the bullpen, and how did they communicate before?
Well, this is a better question, I guess, for Steve than me, but I'll do my best to answer this. In the big leagues, as far as I know, they've always had phones, but coming up through the minor leagues, I am old enough to where I came up where a lot of the ballparks, even some ballparks at AAA, had no phones, and it was all hand signals. Every reliever in the bullpen had some type of a hand signal that meant him. And if it was somebody that was say a little on the heavy side, it might not be a real flattering hand signal, but it would always be something. Everybody had their deal. And then anytime that pitcher was ready, the coach or whoever, a lot of times there was no bullpen coaches in the minor leagues, whoever was standing there, or sometimes the pitcher himself, would take his hat off. When he took his hat off, that was a signal to the dugout. I'm ready now. If you want me, go ahead and bring me in the ball game.
Rob Scahill delivers ball 1 to Darren Ruff. Ruff, Howard, and Frank Core, the scheduled hitters in the bottom of the 8th inning, facing Scahill.
We'll have to remember to ask Steve when we get back to Pittsburgh. When did phones come into the game?
Yeah, or what did they use before? Before phones. Carrier pigeon. Jonathan Papelbon warming up for Philadelphia. Three and 1 as Scahill falls behind Darren Ruff. And the pitch. In for a strike, 3-2. Ryan Howard waits on deck for Philadelphia. Three-two. Ball is pinballing around the stands.
What would be a good sign for Scahill?
Scahill?
Yeah, we got to think of signs for the.
Hold up 52.
Are you going to be able to see that out in the outfield, though?
Well,
now he's a Blackhawks fan. We know that from Twitter too. So how about like a beating of the wings, like a bird? Huh? That's where you get it. There you go. There's your sign for. But that's how.
Melanson would be the shark, right?
Yeah, that would be a great one for him. But that's how the signs were, back when they couldn't have telephones. Is that everybody had their own little signal, and it had to be something that you could, see from the outfield all the way in. And most bullpens are out there a ways. And that one's way out there. The double decker, they're one of the most picturesque bullpen in America. Got to be.
Think so?
The double decker with the flowers.
What about Colorado? You got trees. You got a babbling brook.
Yeah, well, that's just. I'm talking about the bullpens.
Oh.
The Colorado bullpens are just. Yeah, they put a couple of little pine trees in there, but this one here, the double decker with the elevator between two bullpens.
I see.
And the flower pots all around.
Ruff strikes out. Well, Scahill gets strikeout number 1.
There they are. And the flowers that Melanson was watering a while ago. The shark.
Ryan Howard, first baseman, is 0 for 2 with a walk. Scahill worked the 8th inning last night. It was a scoreless inning. And he has struck out at least one batter in each of his last 7 outings. After striking out Darren Ruff here. Ball 2.
Scahill has really been an incredibly consistent pitcher for us. Wow, that bullpen. Somebody you can depend on, and he's pitching, and every time he goes out there, the outings, more important situations, whether it's ahead, just a little bit behind, and pitching later in ball games. Started off kind of at the bottom of the totem pole, but he's worked his way up.
Good strike 2 on Howard. Second in Phillies history in home runs, 340 of them. And it's the most among Phillies left-handed hitters in the franchise's history. It's 219 behind Hall of Famer Mike Schmidt. Schmidt with 548. And he goes down on strikes. So 2 down. Scahill whips Howard.
Pretty good breaking ball. Just kind of went straight down. Howard right over the top of it by a good 3 or 4 inches, it looked like.
Jeff Francoeur bounces one to short. Jordy Mercer, one hop on a backhand, and he got him. So Scahill, a clean inning. Tires the side in order, strikes out 2. Last wraps for the Pirates as we go to the 9th. Tomorrow afternoon, coverage starts at 12:30 with Pirates pregame presented by WB Mason on Root Sports. Vance Worley against Aaron Harang. That's the matchup tomorrow. Worley 2-2. Harang 3-3. If the Pirates can't come back in this one tonight, they'll go for a series win tomorrow. Jonathan Papelbon will come on and look for a save for Philadelphia. He's got 6 of them now. He is tied with Jose Mesa for the most saves in Phillies franchise history with 112.
Yeah, we started off at the beginning of the game talking about Cole Hamels.
Ben Revere moves over from center to left field.
And how he's had to think about trades and where he might be. Herrera in center. The same thing with Papelbon. Ruff is now a first baseman.
Facing Francisco Cervelli.
Really a team and an organization in transition, or will be. Jimmy Rollins, right? Kind of the first piece to be moved.
.112 saves for the Phillies. Papelbon already has 219 with Boston. He is their all-time saves leader. And Papelbon's next save will make him one of only 2 pitchers in Major League history to hold the saves record for 2 different clubs.
And then his work will be done here. He can move on and
try to be the
make
first
it
to make it
3.
3. Yeah, the other. Any idea who the other is?
I'm going to say, let's see, there's 2, huh? Lee Smith?
Nope. 3-0 pitch. And Cervelli takes a strike. Rob Nen. Nen had 108 saves for Miami. He is their all-time saves leader.
Should have went with expansion team.
And he had 206 saves with San Francisco. He's their all-time saves leader. Cervelli bounces it wide at third. That fills up the count. Papelbon worked an inning last night. Hadn't had some work in a while, so went out, pitched the 9th, and he ended up giving up a double to Cervelli. Payoff pitch from Papelbon. Ball 4, and the tying run is aboard. Leadoff walk. Sometimes these come back to haunt. Now, Steve Lombardozzi will come out and pinch run for Cervelli. So Lombardozzi out there representing the game's tying run. Lombardozzi came up when Andrew Lambeau went on the disabled list. Plantar fasciitis in his left foot. So Lombardozzi, who is hitting extremely well in Indianapolis, the utility player, is on first base with Neil Walker batting left-handed for the first time tonight. And Walker takes strike 1. So the Reds have won. They've beaten Atlanta 5-1. The Cardinals have lost to Cleveland 2-0. Corey Kluber with a masterpiece tonight against the Cardinals. Andrew McCutchen has driven in both Pirate runs. A 3-2 ball game here in the 9th. Quick throw to first, and Lombardozzi gets back. AJ Burnett, big night last night. Garrett Cole will pitch Saturday opposite John Lester in Chicago. Walker swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. Nobody out, top half of the 9th inning. 1-run ball game. Pirates have won 4 straight. They've won 8 of their last 9 in Philadelphia. They can push a couple across here in the 9th. Maybe they'll make it 9 of 10. They are facing a guy who has been in this situation many times before. And it's hard to hit. Papelbon's 0-2 to Walker. And a foul tip, strike 3.
That ball looked like it really had a lot of run on it. Take off away. That's a Walker right about now. It looks like it's going to sit on the outside corner, and he takes a shot at it. By the time the ball actually gets in there, it'll run a couple inches off the corner. But you get 2 strikes. You have to do that. You have to expand your strike zone a little bit. Just try and stay alive.
Throw to first base, and diving back is Lombardozzi. Ruiz chat with Papelbon. Jung Ho Gung out in the on-deck circle. He will hit after Jordy Mercer. Mercer with a base hit tonight, 1 for 3. He also scored one of the 2 Pirate runs in the 5th inning. 3-2 Phillies, 1 out, 1 on for the Bucks. Papelbon stretch. Throw to first.
Ruff had to leave the bag to get that one.
Outside, ball 1. Ryan Sandberg giving the signs to Ruiz about the running game. They're going to do with Lombardozzi. Throws it away this time. And Lombardozzi down to second. He can keep running. He's heading to third base. And an error by Jonathan Papelbon puts Lombardozzi at third, and the tying run 90 feet away with 1 out.
There's the Philly fans that they know with the boos. Didn't hear much of that last couple days.
Not much.
Well, we saw the sign from the dugout for the pickoff throw, and there's the pickoff throw.
He almost threw one away and then threw that one away.
Now he needs a strikeout.
The infield will come in for Philadelphia.
Mercer needs to kind of shorten up his stroke and just get the ball put in play firmly. Try to sneak it through a drawn in infielder. So in the air out there in the green stuff, the outfield. Got to take advantage of that blunder.
Mercer with 8 runs batted in. Facing Jonathan Papelbon, top of the 9th. Tying run at third, and the pitch on the way from Papelbon. Up in the air to the right fielder, Frank Core. He'll circle behind it over near the line.
He's got an
arm.
arm.
The catch in foul territory. Here comes Lombardozzi. The throw is in plenty of time to get him.
He has one of the best throwing arms in the league, that's for sure. He put it on display right there.
And that ends the ball game as Jeff Francoeur with a howitzer from right field, cutting down Lombardozzi with the potential game-tying run. And that is how it ends here tonight. Papelbon all alone now, the Phillies' all-time saves leader with 113. His 7th of the season. And the double play with the outfield assist from Francoeur wraps up a 1-run win for Philadelphia.
Francoeur able to get his feet set before he made that throw, and it was just right on the money, and obviously in plenty of time. Ruiz all day to make that tag. There's nothing Lombardozzi could do.
Well, the game ends at home plate. And the Pirates drop one here to Philadelphia. They've taken 2 of the first 3. They'll try for a series win tomorrow afternoon. 3-2 Phillies. Let's go back to Pittsburgh. Rob King and Kent Tekulve.